All I know is there's a doctor in California. California, is not one of the states that originally imposed a quarantine rule. But that changed quietly this week. The state's top health official announced a mandatory 21-day quarantine for anyone who has who's had contact with Ebola patients. Well, sure enough, the state had an immediate opportunity to use the policy. Dr. Colin Bucks returned to the Bay Area this past Friday. He is not experiencing any symptoms, but he's the first Californian to be quarantined under the new guidelines. He gave an interview where he said, quote, "I'm California's most experienced Ebola physician. I won't take a single chance," he said in an interview with the New York Times. "My wife is away. My dog is away. There's no downside to a little personal inconvenience. 3 weeks will pass." Now, let me just share this information with you. If he is indeed California's most experienced Ebola physician, I'm thinking he knows a thing or two about Ebola. Not trying to take away Nurse Kaci's medical skills, because she knows a lot. Just ask her. She's a very smart woman out there biking around with her stupid boyfriend, the two of them thumbing their nose at the world. But if California's most experienced Ebola physician knows that a 21-day quarantine period is reasonable, somebody maybe ought to get a note to Nurse Kaci. Somebody stop her on her bike ride. Maybe the state trooper who's following her with his red lights going on can give her a note and say, there's a doctor in California, he's under quarantine, and he says, I'm not taking any chances. My wife's away. My dog's away. There's no downside to a little personal inconvenience. Hey, honey, Nurse Kaci, there's no downside to a little personal inconvenience. 3 weeks, and that's all it is. Then your civil liberties. You get your iPhone. You got your cable TV. You got your food. It's a little personal inconvenience for the good of others.